The Leo King will be live shortly. Please hold on while the collective consciousness loads, and thank you for being a part of the Leo Kingdom. The Leo King will be live shortly. Please hold on while the collective consciousness loads, and thank you for being a part of the Leo Kingdom. The Leo King will be live shortly. Please hold on while the collective consciousness loads, and thank you for being a part of the Leo Kingdom. The Leo King will be live shortly. Please hold on while the collective consciousness loads, and thank you for being a part of the Leo Kingdom. The Leo King will be live shortly. Please hold on while the collective consciousness loads, and thank you for being a part of the Leo Kingdom.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? It is David Palmer, the Leo King, and we are here live for Deep Astrology, your weekly astrology forecast for the week of July 16th through the 22nd of 2019 here at highvibe.tv, or you can find us on the High Vibe TV Spiritual Network app on iPhone, Android, and of course we got it on Apple TV, and we just got news. Roku got submitted, and Amazon Fire's on that last part. And of course, you can always support this show for being free on YouTube by checking out highvibe.tv. You can purchase one of my just individual horoscopes or subscribing, get access to all the awesome talent on there and get all these videos every day and every week on the app or on the website. Make sure you check it out at highvibe.tv first. You actually go through the website to make your membership or purchase your video. Then you can download the app and check out those videos. And we just did Spiritual Dance Music. That'll be live here on the app tonight, where you can watch Spiritual Dance Music for free. We have tons of free content on the High Vibe app. So if you do want to even have the app to also just have a bunch of free awesome content, it's available there as well. And if you've never watched the show before, this is where I channel the astrology of the week. Then, of course, I go deep into the charts that are brought to you by Astro Gold, which you can get on iOS, Android, and of course your iMac or your MacBook. Or if you're on PC, head on over to Solar Fire. Same peeps and the same energy. Well, we are in a lunar eclipse. Literally, as I am doing this show, it is just finishing here in Capricorn, and this is the last eclipse of this summer eclipse season. Remember last year we had 3 eclipses. We had a solar, lunar, solar. This is just a solar, lunar, but this one is really hard hitting. That's because this has been a big time these last 2 weeks. We've had the solar eclipse that happened in Cancer with the North Node in Cancer. Remember that last year's solar eclipse in Cancer was with the North Node in Leo. So we really are in emotional waters right now and really about filling our cups up. And I know I might sound like a repetitive, crazy man trying to fill up a bunch of cups. You might as well not call me the Leo King and call me an Aquarius trying to fill up all these cups. But really, it's trying to everybody get to that nurturing place of who they really are. Cancer, believe it or not, really is who you are, because when we go to Capricorn, which I love Capricorn, don't get me wrong, I got Jupiter there. Capricorn's where we put on our clothes. It's where we tailor ourselves. It's where we present ourselves as best as we can to get the job. Or more importantly, set our sights on our goals. But Cancer is where we are, I don't know. I'm not a girl, so I don't wear makeup, but like, you'll see me with my hair messed up, which is usually very rarely. You know what I mean? Like, Cancer is where we are just our true, authentic, emotional selves, like in our comfort zone, our home, our family, our foundation, our roots. And this is such an intense time because with this South Node in Capricorn and North Node, this is in a Cancer position with the North. We have to really focus on our true, authentic, emotional selves. And it's difficult because Capricorn with Pluto there and with Saturn and with the South Node has control issues. It has control issues of the presentation that we put out to the world. It has control issues on, oh, I need this in order to get where I want to go in life. It's also what rules crutches. I know that might sound like I'm crazy. I'm going to come with left field with some stuff today, but crutches, for real. Why? Because knees are what rule Capricorn. And so I'm looking at this South Node, Saturn and Pluto lunar eclipse here as like, are you ready to let go of the crutches? The crutches that you think, I need this in order to get where I need to go in my life. And with the North Node this week and Venus going to meet up, this is extreme because right after this eclipse, Here's Venus coming closer to the sun, but it's going to cross this north node and oppose Saturn. Venus, of course, rules relationships, it rules our projects, it rules our inner understanding of our value system and our talents, our skills, and what makes us feel good. And it's coming into a hard aspect with this opposition to Saturn and Capricorn with the south node there. And when you have that crutch of like, well, I need this in order to feel good in my life, or this is this situation I'm in, and you know what, I'm too afraid to really let it go because you know what, I've already put so much in. Capricorn's where we put a lot in, right? You just don't go and build a business, or you just don't go for your ultimate goal without like really putting everything in, and that's what Capricorn's about. It doesn't really take a lot of time, I guess you could say, even though it does rule this, blockage or stoppage. It's not literally that. It's making sure you have everything ready to go to make it to the next step. It's a stepping block. But this is a time in our lives where it's like, are these steps going more backwards than forwards? Remember, we do have Pluto and Saturn retrograde with this south node in this lunar eclipse. And we've got, on the other side of the zodiac, we got this Sun and Venus, which are moving forward on the north node, right? Like this is a time for us to move forward, not backwards into these old systems, because systems and time and structures and rules are things that rule this Capricornian world. And this north node in Venus this week wants to feel better. But it's not easy to feel better when we put blocks on ourselves of like, well, I put so much into this, maybe I can fix it. With Uranus and Taurus, which is really one of the only planets still direct, besides Venus here and Mars, Uranus and Taurus is at the highest we're going to see this year. Uranus is at 6 degrees. And this is a really intense place because when you look at this Capricorn energy, it almost feels like everybody is trying to understand their foundation, their root, if they'll be able to even make it on this tour of life, this adventure, or more importantly, the stresses, the darkness, the fears. And it's like, well, you know what, I'll just keep this because at least I've got it. But Uranus and Taurus is teaching us, hey, have you reassessed the value of this in your life? And it's interesting for me to really look at this week because there is such an important role with Uranus. It is making that semi-square still to Neptune. And Neptune is in the background. It's just kind of hiding around. It's making that final trine to that north node, even though it's pretty much over, but it's still going backwards as the north node is actually coming, you have to remember that the north node goes, the opposite direction than the planets do. So actually a retrograde goes alongside with the nodal aspect. And so we have this beautiful element of Neptune in this north node, Venus and Neptune this week, but here's Uranus. It means it's going to be, of course, in this weird angle to not only Neptune, but as Venus now is all like, okay, I'm all hanging out, I'm really excited. It's like, this is a time for our lives to see that there's this weird semi-square energy going on. And this is going to be happening with Venus as well. Because with Uranus semi-square Venus, Uranus semi-square, it's like, it's a weird angle. It's truly not a semi-square. It's just really making us process this weird angle at looking at, if we're going to be looking at this Neptune-Venus thing of really finding beauty in our lives, we have to look at that semi-square of Uranus over to Neptune. Like, are we trying to fix things for beauty? Like, it kind of reminds me of a broken doll that maybe like my grandma had that was like, from like 1890 that was like, don't touch it, and then it falls, and then you're like waiting for her not to come out of the bathroom yet, and you're like, do I find glue? What do I do? Like, I don't want to like show my grandma that I just broke this porcelain doll. Like, if you're in that place and you think that it's going to be all beautified and fine and all great, that's where this control issue is. Instead of being like, you know what, I broke it, I'm so sorry. Like, it's kind of done at that point. There's a lot of these closing cycles with Saturn in the South Node. And I think that this is kind of scary for people because it really is this last degrees of Cancer this week. And so, what's going on? Planking? I'm putting it all the way up. We got this this Cancer energy that's at the last degrees. And I've always said, and I will always say this, and you'll hear it on every deep astrology, and you'll hear it on all my horoscopes, the last degrees of any water sign are extremely, extremely hard and emotional. They're the hardest of the degrees in the zodiac. And so, where's Mercury retrograding? Well, it's still in Leo, but it's going to leave Leo and come back into the last degrees of Cancer. So if you think that this lunar eclipse really was kind of like, yes, I'm through it, I'm done. Oh, it just kicked off the football. You know what I mean? Like it just, okay, here we go. Mercury retrograde back into Cancer as Venus, the sun, they're all like, it's like Venus, the sun is like, what the hell's going on? I got Mercury coming back at me, I got Venus on my butt, and it's all here in the last degrees of Capricorn and in Cancer. Oh my gosh. We have to rethink and relook at so many elements of what's going on deep inside of our real selves. And these are the last moments. Because remember that even though this lunar eclipse just finished here on Tuesday, it will be the new moon in Leo that will close the cycle. Like even though it's done, it's not done, if that makes sense. Especially with the sun still in Cancer, there is this final element here these last 2 weeks where you have a final choice. Because this is Saturn in the South Node at this really kind of peak energy, with Venus being the last planet to oppose this position. It's crucial now for you to make choices in relationships and your projects and redefining it, or, you know, choosing this whole, you know, part in yourself. And I said on spiritual dance music, a lot of this is getting the tar off your feet. You know, when you try to use your fingers, guess what? Now you have the tars on your fingers. And then you go to wash it off, and now the tar's in your sink. Now you got to clean the sink, and now it's on the paper towels, and now it's in the trash, and now it's in the trash bag. Now you get the trash bag, and you got to throw it out. It's like there's this cleaning off of tar. And you know, this is our last chance, because once this new moon comes in 2 weeks, which ironically enough, 9 degrees of Leo is exactly the opposition of where Mars went retrograde at 9 degrees of Aquarius. And how ironic that on this lunar eclipse, Mars is at 9 degrees Leo, exactly in opposition to where Mars went retrograde last year. So to be honest with you, this lunar eclipse is highlighting exactly where you were at this time last year, especially the end of June. What was the weird stuff going on? What has been weird since that point? Don't lie to yourself no more. You can't lie to yourself. And I think it's really hard for people to like be honest and look, because this Mars in Leo and this Mercury finishing its retrograde in Leo, remember, this Mercury retrograde happened at 4 degrees. That was also on a lunar eclipse spot. So these cycles are not done. There's a lot of trying to clear out because the tar is so thick. And if you really believe deep inside of yourself that you're just going to be able to wash this tar off like with just some water without soap, and even with that it's just going to go away, like, oh, it'll just go away. That's this Neptune, Venus thing, but the semi-square over to Uranus. It's the semi-square to Uranus that is what is intensifying about, like, are you really going to try and fix that? Is it really that worth it? Like, you know, one thing about it is teaching us other parts that fix. Like, I love my jeans I'm wearing right now. And you know what? I actually pulled out some sewing and I actually sewed these jeans back together. And I sewed another pair because, you know, Abby's actually in the house. And it was funny, it was like a month ago, spiritual dance music, I bent over, my pants ripped. Guess what? I love those pants, so I actually sewed them. I didn't need to go buy a new pair. They were perfectly fine. And nobody knows, and I'm fine. But it's like Taurus rules these upper echelons of understanding of value. And Venus is also the ruler of Taurus. And so we have to look at Venus coming over the North Node. Because when it's doing this, we have to look at, well, what's in Taurus? Oh, Uranus, disconnection, connecting to new things, being willing to go off into a new universe about finding out true value of what feels right, what feels good. And that is terrifying for people, because Taurus's downfall is like, I'm not letting go of this. And Capricorn with Saturn and Pluto in the South Node is like, I'm going down with the ship. It's like, really? Like, you're going to go down with the ship? Like what? Like, do you think people remember that in Titanic about how they tried to make, you know, the captain look like such a badass because he went down with the ship? Like, really? We live in a beautiful world and a beautiful life, and it's this pride, or it's this over-connection to valuing things that are unfixable. Because when you look at Cancer, you're not comfortable fixing things. You're more comfortable when it's like it works. It's comfortable when the bed like works, right? When the mattress has a problem or, it falls apart, it's not comfortable. It's like, oh man. And if it's not fixable and what do you gotta do? You gotta buy a new one? Like what? There's a lot of Taurus that's trying to really give us the understanding. Uranus is an outer planet, but it is the understanding of how to get to heaven. It is the one that shows the way. And this is paradise. This is a paradise that's right in front of you. But a lot of it is like stepping up and being honest and being like, this is like what I'm feeling, and throwing it out on the table and watching the universe do the magic. Because if you can't really pull your truth out, because what did you just spend 2012 to 2019 doing with all that Scorpio energy? Oh, that was teaching you how to be in your truth. That's why we have all these people doing light work. We have astrology now that's popped out like a little jack in the box, pop. But how come you can't pop like a jack in the box about your true feelings? Mars in Leo is going to require massive courage now, especially because it just opposed the exact position it went retrograde last year on June 26th. So now that it's come to that opposition point, you now have to bring courage out because you haven't had courage for a year at all. Like, you might think you did, but like, this is like pure positive courage. It's got Mars in Leo ready to trine Jupiter coming up. We got Mars and Juno following each other with a trine to Jupiter. We got the sun coming into Leo next week on Tuesday, my birthday, by the way. But this is going to be a time where it's like, come on. Do you really want to use this week and not clear all the crap and clear the tar off and be honest and throw it all out there and see what the universe is going to do? Because you can't fix it. If it's going to be fixed, the universe will fix it for you. If it can't be fixed, stop getting your own control issues over, I got to have it this way. And this is a moon in Aquarius this week too. Ooh, with a sextile to Jupiter. But it's going to be making some quincunxes over to all this Cancer energy. This is weird, right? Disconnect emotionally? Oh man, what? No. But maybe that's the way you fill up your cup. Reminds me of the 8 of Cups in tarot. When you see a solar eclipse and you just have to leave all 8 cups and all the stacks and all the layers of emotion that you have in your life. And at one point you just got to go, you know what, whatever. Because you know what, you got to find a way, because 6 months from now we will be the most tested ever. It'll be like going through a boneyard and there's nothing to scrap. There's no water. It's like a drought. Think about that one, or a dry riverbed. So I think that this week, there's really not like what you would say like in astrology terms, like, oh my gosh, there's so many transits happening this week. There actually is. There's just these more hidden elements. And this was a lunar eclipse on Pluto. Pluto does not like you trying to hold off the death of something. Oh, no, like, we'll push that off a little longer. No, Pluto comes in and becomes a destroyer at that point. And when you got Uranus as well, that's trying to take you to heaven, but if you're not willing to go, it'll kind of, yeah, I'm taking you, like, sorry, you're out of the situation, goodbye, what? And at the very edge of this cliff of emotion, Mercury retrogrades, the sun cazimis this weekend, and Venus comes over the North Node and it opposes Saturn, and then it's getting ready for its opposition to Pluto. Like, if you think this whole thing's over about Venus-related things, and Uranus is in Taurus, Venus is ruler, there's nothing in Libra, right? You're crazy, because this is going to be the big moment for you, because next week the sun comes into Leo, Mars trines Jupiter, and we have a rocket ship of the most amazing life that you ever want, or not. You could just like not be aware or just push everything down, because Pluto, this was a lunar eclipse on Pluto, and Pluto was just raw, naked truth. And the more that you just really throw it all out there, and you know what? I love naked truth. I'm Sun Square Pluto. I've learned this lesson more than anybody. Like, the more I just this is all of it. Like, here it is. And there's nothing that I'm trying to hold down or hide. Guess what? Relief. And then the universe does what it does with all that information, and that's tar. It tars more up and up and up the more we hold things in, the more that we're afraid, to be honest, the more we're afraid to connect. We all want to receive so much right now in our lives, but we're blocking it. We're blocking it because we have things in place right now that are in the positions that are holding the things that we actually want. That's what Capricorn is. It's kind of like the stand for the place for the trophy. I have so many trophies from jet ski racing, I don't even know what to do with them. But the most important ones go in my office. The ones that whatever I throw in the back of the shop, you know what I mean? Well, if you're putting this trophy that you have in your life, but you really don't feel emotionally connected to it, well, the second that you take it off the stand, well, guess what? That allows the universe to bring in a trophy that you really want in your life. And this is where people are having a really hard time because it's an emotional thing. There's sentimental value when you mix Cancer and even Capricorn, right? It's kind of like, you have sentimental value for old things, or you have sentimental value just because you're emotionally attached. And this is definitely dealing with over-attachment, right? A lunar eclipse on Pluto in Capricorn at detriment, over-attached to, I have control of this emotion and I do not want it to go this direction or that direction. I only want it to go this direction only. Well, guess what? This is Cancer time, and it's a time where emotions are uncontrollable. I hate to say it, of course, how we handle emotion is a different thing, but they're uncontrollable about what's going to show up, how it's going to be. And the more chaotic emotionally things get, it's because you're not dealing with them, you're not letting them out, especially as, we just had the sun oppose Pluto, we just had the sun oppose Saturn, and that was all last week coming into this week. So, it's like the universe wants to figure out what's going on here. And that's what this Mercury retrograde is. With the sun at these last degrees of Cancer. Remember that Robin Williams was born at these last degrees, 27, 28 degrees, right? These last degrees are, Mrs. Doubtfire to, going off into, being Aladdin to, really emotional and all over the place. But, you've got to also realize that there is a deep underlying aspect of how are you dealing with those emotions? And with Capricorn, if you put a stop to them and you're like, no, I really want to feel this, but I'm going to tailor my life. I'm going to make it look away. And I'm going to use a really harsh truth in all this is when it comes to being in a high vibe, which this place is all about, fakeness is the last thing on the planet. But the ultimate fakeness is Pluto and Saturn and Capricorn. Because it's I'm going to project exactly how I want it to look. I'm gonna keep it that way. And this lunar eclipse hit that button, full blown fakeness. Doot, 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 doot. And whether or not you're gonna be that or not. The way to tell between fakeness and realness is that realness is real. You can feel it. It's gonna touch your emotions. It's gonna there is no such thing as not being able to come into some sort of conflict of emotion whenever you bring up any kind of truth, because it's going to affect everybody's emotion. So the more that you avoid that, the more you start stepping into this place of a jail. And then you lock yourself in. And Capricorn is very concrete. It's a cardinal earth sign. So, it's very strong. It pours the concrete. It's like quick concrete. Have you ever bought that stuff at Home Depot? You literally just pour it down, add some water, and 1 hour later, done. Then you're going to need to get a jackhammer. Or it's like going to the dentist. Why do you think it rolls teeth? Do you know how fast that they glue those crowns on? I can't even believe it. I'm like, what kind of glue? Where did you get that crap? Because I want some of that stuff because I'm trying to use Elmer's glue and it ain't working. You know what I mean? In life. But how do you have this thing? If you notice they have those lights now, instant, bam. Well, guess what? Are you really doing that to yourself? You're just putting a crown on everything, instantly. I don't want to deal with that. I don't look. There's a cavity under there. Let me put a beautiful crown over it. It's fine. You really want me to open my mouth and show you all my crowns? You know what I mean? Do you want to see under the crowns and see what's really under there? That'll freak you the hell out. I guarantee you. Especially the root canal one. You know what I mean? What did he shove in there? I don't even know. But Pluto wants to know. Pluto's willing to dig all the way in and go, oh, look what you did. Oh, hold on. Pull out all those strings of antibiotic stuff that looks pretty when you get it, all blue and beautiful, and it smells like antibiotic, but I bet you right now it's just rotting away and it's probably a different color and who knows. Well, guess what? We're all about to go find out what's really down there. Everything's about to be exposed. Finally. Because we're actually been waiting for this for a long time. Because this is what we've been waiting for since the 2012 movement. It was all scorpionic. And finally, there was a lunar eclipse on Pluto. Finally, with the south node. Like, it's going to happen. Expose, expose. And you know what? When you look at this week, it's not just a week to just think it's over. This Venus trine Neptune, this moon in Venus in Pisces and Neptune is going to be beautiful. But again, it's semi-square to Uranus, which is still direct. And Taurus being like, oh, yeah, it's beautiful. Really, is it? Bring it over here. Let's put it on the scale. Let's see how many karat gold that thing really is. Oh, it's cubic zirconia. Oh, you don't have a diamond certificate for this motherfucker? Well, guess what? Go to Target. I'm sure they might like exchange it for you. So, you know, like this is where like people are going to be exposed in themselves, and externally we're going to see in the government and the world and all this, all that's coming out. Look deeper. Look deeper now, because this is not going to be fun if you're not willing to put your true emotional wants and needs first. And that opposition to Saturn is, Venus is teaching Saturn, believe it or not, even though Saturn's at home, but it's got the south node there. It's trying to like churn out this old karma. And Venus is on north node saying, hey, even though I know you're ruled down there, I know you're going through a lot. You got Pluto on your butt, like you're about to meet up with Pluto. You're about to start a whole new 35, 37-year cycle in 6 months, not even, and have massive eclipses on that. Like, why don't you feel good before you go through that, dude? Do you want to feel good, or do you want to like really like be compounded by crap and harshness and jail and all this idea? And then this is where Jupiter square Neptune comes in, is this whole belief that like of these old systems of like, well, yeah, it should be really hard. You know, put in all this duty to make sure that, you know what, I can work through this, to do my work. I'm going to do my work and keep this going. It's like, oh God, is that really going to feel really good? Especially when it's going to be I can't even use a number. When you add the mathematical aspects of Pluto, Saturn, Mercury, Sun, lunar eclipse on the days of Saturn-Pluto meeting in January. It's going to be compounded with, South Node Jupiter too? I mean, come on. I'm just trying to tell you all that like this is your last shot. At least like Leo, you can use the Leo transit next week that starts for something beautiful and amazing, because the sun comes into Leo at its strongest spot at 0, and then Mars trines Jupiter, and then that's it. Then we have a new moon at 9 degrees, and then, you know what? It's going to take a while for Mercury to come direct at the end of the month, and then come through Leo and meet back up with the sun, and that's all going to be when we're in Virgo. And then we're going to have Mars and Venus and Virgo and all that. Like, you need to see that this is it. This is like, you know, like where you either you make a choice to like, and it's not even about playing it safe, because the truth is playing it safe is being fake. Playing it safe is fake. But being safe is not playing. It is real. And it is something that you know you have to deal with. And all you got to do is show up, be real, be honest, show the truth, show the feeling, and see what happens. There is that Uranus and Taurus that is going to be the weirdo, it's like, honestly, it is the big bad wolf, Uranus, that will blow your house down and see if it's built out of straw or brick. And I'm just preparing people that this lunar eclipse set it off, because in this next 2 weeks here, we still got this whole Mercury retrograde. We still got it coming with Mercury and Venus when the sun comes into Leo by next week. And this is your last shot. We got Mars and Juno coming with a trine to Jupiter. I mean, come on. Like, that's not about fixing energy. That's about energy when you're in your truth and alignment with your true heart, and that there should be no hard work at all. But if you're in a place where it's like, this is hard work and I gotta keep doing this and da-da-da, well, good luck, because you haven't even began what the hard work is. And then you're gonna get to the end and you're gonna get to the top of all the hard work and you're gonna be so drained and you're gonna have no emotion that you're gonna be like, what the fuck did I just do that for? I'm out of here. So I'm just trying to prepare you for 6 months of either beauty or 6 months of continual downslide into harder and harder and harder issues, because this lunar eclipse goes on for a long time. Mars, when it finally will come into Capricorn, will cut off that energy, but that's going to happen with Saturn and Pluto already conjunct and all the things that happen in that aspect. So it's definitely important for you to not be afraid. And it's definitely important for you to not be afraid to see that this is the most amazing moment in your life, to throw it all to the truth, to let the universe fill your cup for you instead of you trying to fill it up. Why do you think Aquarius, the cup is being filled by an outer source? You're not filling the cup. We didn't come down here to fill our cups. We came down here to learn that God fills our cups. We came down here to learn that the universe fills our cups. And all of us are frantic at a party with solo red cups trying to get the last little drop of some fake stuff that has been sold to us that we all think that we need to have, and we're waiting in line for it. And the whole time we could just walk outside, put our cup out, and I bet you it would start raining, or who knows, or somebody comes up next to you and goes, here, it was not even that good. You want to try it? Go put yourself in the reel. Get out of the line. Get out of the line. Get out of the line. Let's take a look at the charts. Get out of the line. Did you know at Disneyland, when you have a season pass, you can go to Fast Track and you can put your season pass under it and say, I want to go on this ride at this time. Does it really have to be that hard? Like, I always go to Disneyland. I grew up, Disneyland's down the street from these offices. So I went there my whole life. But I always look at people and I go, why aren't you using a fast pass? You're gonna go wait in the 3-hour line? Well, I didn't want to spend the extra $20, I'll wait. Okay. This is where Taurus is trying to teach people to go, life can be that much better. You wouldn't go to Disneyland if you didn't have the extra $20 because I just saw you eat that pretzel and I just saw you eat that freaking slushie. You know what I mean? Maybe instead of 2, pretzels and 2 slushies, maybe, could have bought that to get the fast pass all the time, and you wouldn't be needing all that extra energy by sitting in the line, not being happy. So, I know that's a kind of a weird analogy, but it's do you all just really want to sit in line and wait for something to happen and then get to the very end of the line and they go, the ride's closed. Do you know how many times it's happened? I'm a Disneyland fanatic. I've probably been over 150 times in my life. Do you know how many times I've waited on Space Mountain and then I get right to the end and they're like, sorry, ride closed, ride broken. This is the best analogy I can give you to the end of 2019 for situations that you are still playing this whole, I'm not gonna deal with it, or I'm too afraid to let the truth happen, or I'm still trying to control it. I'm gonna wait in line and see if it'll change or it'll fix or whatever. And guess what? You're gonna get all the way there, and at the very end, it's gonna be a very intense Capricorn with Saturn and Pluto in the South Node, and guess what they're gonna say? I am sorry, the ride is broken, and you're not allowed on it. What? I just waited all this time? And do you know what that does to your emotion when you already gave all that emotion in waiting and you didn't feel anything good? You didn't feel anything good through the whole time? You just were sitting there waiting and oh, my knees hurt. Can you give me a crutch, right? Can you give me a back rub? Can you give me this? Can you give me, okay, you get a little massage here and there, but you missed out on your whole time of fun and experience. Jupiter right now, and its home sign. Let's take a look at this chart that we are at here on Tuesday. It's eclipse time. And so as I'm talking to you all, this moon just passed over Pluto. But remember, look at all this stuff going on in the oppositions, okay? We've got Mars at 9:37 Leo. It is now done with the opposition point to where Mars went retrograde at 9 Aquarius. That is done. This eclipse said, you have power for true love now. But don't confuse that with Mercury retrograde of true love and trying to do some crazy, weird situations. Remember, Mercury's been squaring Uranus in this retrograde by doing some crazy situation that you think that you can fix something that's unfixable. Uranus is about moving into new and forward things. And with Taurus, it's like new directions. And to be very frank and honest, I'll use a personal example of mine, like future life. Like I really did not continue with that because it was not working. And High Vibe was a new place and it was a risk. But you know what? I knew it was better. And I went for it. And it's been so much better. And it's a family and it's a community. Future life never felt like a community. I don't want to take people away from that were part of it as saying that. But this is a different thing. This is it to a better level. And this is a time for us to realize that it's important for us to realize deep inside of ourselves that we can't play this fake game no more and try and hold on to things that aren't really working, where the signs are very clear. This Chiron retrograde that had just happened a week ago is part of all this, because Chiron is retrograde now, and this is where we try to heal ourselves through owning some sort of identity or some sort of whether that's a blue check mark on your Instagram or your status on your Facebook in a relationship or the picture that you just put out just to make yourself feel good in a weird way, like to heal yourself. But also it's this role and identity that really is is that really you? Is that what you really want? Or is it really close but no cigar? Because with Chiron, it's always very close but no cigar. We always feel that wherever Chiron's in your chart, I just never get it all the way I want it to. But it's when you actually let go of that whole, it's not going to show up exactly the way you want to, and you take what it is in the way that it is, and you take that and you go, oh, this is what's really here. This is the subconscious issue. This is my own weird healing issue. That these roles and these identities are in a weird position, in a weird play. And when you take a look at the sun at 24, it's heading into this end of Cancer, but it's this North Node Venus on this eclipse that I'm going to show you in the next day here. It's not messing around with Venus in opposition to Saturn as we're talking. Are you really going to think that the universe didn't just open up this massive portal to go, and I'm a Venus-Saturn person too. I have it in square, so I've learned this one. This is a time where it's you got to let go of this control system of this is the way this relationship is, or the way that you have to reset, and you have to also come into true feeling. Where are things at now? Where are your feelings at now? And are you getting drifted off the path? Because this is definitely Venus in opposition to where it's Saturn's well, I've got this path, and Venus is yeah, but do you actually like it? You know what I mean? Are you sure you like the path? Come on, dude. That path sucks. There's a lot of dog poop on that trail. It smells. Yeah, I made a duty to it. Okay, yeah, have fun with your bags, and you don't have enough for that much poop down there. Venus knows. Venus is clear. Venus is close to the sun. Venus is close to Mercury that's retrograding back at it. It can see so much. It can see, but when it looks down at the Saturn and when it looks down at this Pluto, there's this whole thing where Pluto too is like a carrot that's dangling itself and kind of in a weird way from the mysterious realms in the background with the moon that just occulted this position. You have to realize that this is not, in the ancient times, this is not where to go at all. Oh, God. Because this is definitely where, especially with the South Node, this is a purge. And things that are just, this is the greatest purge of all time I've ever seen in astrology. A lunar eclipse on Pluto and Saturn in Capricorn. Karmic ties, karmic relationships with Venus into it, in the middle of it. Karmic everything that is no longer done. The karma's over. Snip, snip. But if you want to continue running the karma train and get back on it. I mean, it's a little bit like the whole situation in The Matrix when he sees the architect. Like, and he has a choice of the two doors, and he always makes that same choice. And finally, ironically enough, I think in the movie he says 6 times you picked this road to save humanity. 7th, you picked what your heart wants. Now, don't attach it with this whole Trinity thing and his love for Trinity, because then everybody's going to start going, well, I love this person, or I did it. It's like, no, it's the what he wanted inside. He also only had Trinity. He really didn't have much Jupiter and Sag going on to look around and see. He kind of had no option on that ship, you know what I mean? I don't think there was another girl on that ship. So, you know, you got to kind of start to think about this whole Jupiter thing about, like, have you really looked at what kind of world you want to have and get on the adventure and get over your fears? Step over these fears. Jupiter is in Sag. It's beautiful. And it's come off the Neptune square by 3 degrees finally. It's actually over 3 degrees apart. So it's now getting ready to come direct here. We're literally less than a month away. We're like ready to come forward with Jupiter. So as all these karmic things are coming to a close, this is like your time. Mars is going to give you the confidence. Or are you going to double down and use Mars in Leo especially about being like, now I'm going to keep the castle in the way that I want it to be. My ego's desires this way, and hopefully, you know, and not, as Albert Einstein says, like doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result is just insanity. Well, there's a little bit of Mars that went retrograde in Aquarius at 9 degrees last year that taught you what insanity is. That actually a lot of situations that you went through in June and July and August and September are insane. And look at what happened in your life then. What happened? Did you close them? Or did you just keep them open and now all the cockroaches are coming out with Pluto and Saturn and the full moon and lunar eclipse here? This is cockroach city. And you know, I said on Spiritual Dance Music today, this is not a time to put your crystals out. This is not a time to even do like manifesting, like meditations under such a dark filtration system on the moon. Like, this is like where you use it to just release crap and like look at it like a butthole. Like, out. Just anything that's out. I don't want anything in right now. Like, very rarely do we put things up the butthole. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? So, like, out. Things more come out of the butthole, you know what I mean? And this is a time for us to go in that space. And you want to, ironically enough, this north node, guess where it's by in Venus, where it's meeting up? The irony is of where the black hole that we found on pictures when Jupiter went retrograde. Now, a lot of people think a black hole is a suction place to some, you know, black hole as if it's bad. But the butthole, the butthole here, you know, is this Saturn-Pluto thing, this dark thing. But to some, it looks like it's this. Oh man, we are really going there, huh? It feels like it's a this beautiful like ornament or something that like, you know, is dangling with a carrot dangle. Like, yeah, let me take from that place. No, go look where the north is. And the north is in a position to where the black hole is actually, is that where we came from? Is that why all the pyramids and why all the ancients pointed there? Why, you know, Sirius, the star, was red and then turned blue. And from my research, it's already a dead star, but it's taken so many millions and, you know, of light years to get the light. That's why it's changing color. Will we actually see in our lives at some point when it just disappears and maybe the black hole appears? I don't know. Maybe it's too far away. I mean, I'm not an astrophysicist. But with Venus on Wednesday meeting up with the North Node here, right after the eclipse, here's Mercury retrograde still, but it's at 0 Leo. This is in the Sabian symbols. I only know this because I was born 0 Leo. It's literally a person with blood dripping down their face and all over their body and just like, yeah. Because when you're in truth of your heart, it like, you just went for it in all directions, in all ways, and you love it so much. You will go to battle for it. You will be a lion. You will protect your cubs. You will protect it all. But this is not in a sense of like, where Cancer, it's trying to protect itself from going through any oversensitivity. And this is what's before Leo. So Mercury retrograde can kind of have a weird dilemma going on where it's thinking about this like, what it wants and passion and love and all these things, but it's like, did it do the work with Venus and North Node towards this more ancient position? Because this Sirius here is insanely the connection to our ancients and to our true lineage of why we're here. And this is a moment where, of course, with Uranus being in Taurus and it's semi-square over to Neptune, you know, it's an important moment for us to really pay attention to still. We can't just deny this position. That in order for us to feel spiritually aligned as it is in alignment with this Venus-Neptune, with the North Node, it's Uranus that's saying, is this the best for you, period? Like there's a period at the end. It's direct still. Like, Uranus is really nice in direct motion. It's retrograde that it becomes crazy. Because that's when the big bad wolf blows the house down and tests, did you move forward? Did you do a brick house? Or did you do a wood house? Or did you do a straw house? And if you're just keeping everything on a straw house right now, especially, I'm going to be very honest, and this might sound really cryptic, but Saturn in South Node is like a structure of like a building that, you know, some landlord like is like, well, I don't want to deal with it. We'll just see until it falls and then I'll deal with it later. Or it's that cripply old person that like, I'm going to still go, but I'm on crutches and I'm going to keep going. And it's like, come on, like, it's okay to wear the catheter. It's okay to, this is what Cancer's trying to say, right? Like the nurse, like the mother, like, do you really like want to keep doing that? And so you got to look at these situations and relationships and what is fixable is clear because it actually is advancing forward in life. But what is not clear is when you actually start seeing the things that have not advanced. Sure, they've advanced your awareness, but they have not been physically advancing in life. They have not taken new steps forward. They just keep going backwards. It just keeps going backwards. It just keeps going backwards. And then it's like, save the day with a crazy new scenario. Aren't you tired of that? Imagine living life where something worked. Like imagine getting in your car and every day, to start it, I gotta kick the tires and I gotta pound this and I gotta kick the door and I gotta do this. That's not fun. I've had plenty of cars like that, especially when I was broke and homeless. Like I would open up the hood and jiggle on the battery cable and then, oh yeah, it's like locked. And then I'd have to like ask somebody like, can you like crank my car while I jiggle this thing? Like, and you actually get used to this. We don't need to be living that. And I think it's even more irony that the moon is in Aquarius on Wednesday as the Venus is conjuncting the North Node and the moon's going to oppose Mercury retrograde and oppose Mars in Leo. And going to cross over as well, the position where Mars would retrograde. And Mars now at 10 degrees, look at that, it's hanging out with Juno. Oh yeah, it's ready to go have a party with great love and happiness and go have a great time. Because it knows it's out of Uranus, it knows there's no Scorpio. This is the first time Mars like is in Leo in 9 years without any kind of this hardcore gnarly Scorpio energy that was still waiting or still knew that it had some stuff. So this is the kingdom or the king or the queen energy coming on like, I am done with all that crazy crap in the dungeon. I'm out of the dungeon. And it's ready to fly forward with Jupiter. But it's what you choose with this raw thing here. And this is going to be intense, peeps. This is going to be intense. Because when we get to Thursday here on the 18th, Venus is crossed. Sun now coming to 25, 26. But Venus has been in opposition to Saturn, and now it's getting ready for the Pluto aspect. So it thinks it's done, but it's like, no, I've dealt with a lot of like, I understand the spine of what feels good and what is moving forward or not moving forward. But now I need to really like execute the deep truth. And this moon is going to make an awesome sextile to Jupiter. So this is a really good day Thursday, I feel. Mercury's on its last day of retrograding in Leo, then it comes back into Cancer. Then you get this last little look at your true heart mentally. And Mercury is Hermes, the Hermetic, and it's about seeing things not emotionally. Seeing things from the heart and looking at both sides and looking at all sides of things. And this is going to be a great aspect, even though the moon does quincunx Venus, even though the moon does quincunx the sun. So there is this like, are you looking at the world? Look at this. I love Sag and Aquarius when they're in combination. You know why? Because they're about looking outside the box. You know, I'll admit, Leo is about staying in the castle, and you know, Gemini is about staying in the same environment. So, you know, there's these elements now here of like learning to like go outside the box, look outside, see what's out there. You got this last shot as this eclipse cycle is closing in this next 2 weeks. And if we go to Friday, Mercury's now with Cancer and now closing on the sun. And so now this is the last degree. This is going to bring up a lot. This is actually, if you want to get some real shit, this is some deep astrology, right? Okay. What does 29 Cancer do? 29 Cancer makes a trine to 29 of Pisces. And this is where we had in February the end of Chiron in Pisces. Mercury also makes a trine to 29 of Scorpio. This is where Jupiter left at the end of last year during the craziness. Also, Mercury makes squares to 29 Libra. Oh, that's where, you know, 83, 84 with Pluto, that the Mercury's going to retrograde and the sun's going to square. That is where the Saturn-Pluto cycle was, and that we are clearing in 5.5 months. So this Mercury is starting to see these really interesting looks into life. And the cazimi point with the sun, sure, it can burn out Mercury, but it's trying to help, I think, burn out this like emotional, mental story that is not disconnecting from the emotional stories that are continuing these patterns that are no longer working for your own happiness and for your own joy anymore in your life. That you have to erase them now. You have to like delete them out of the file system. And if we look at Saturday, with July 20th, we start to see that cazimi point get very close. Sun and Mercury here at 28 Cancer and 27. And look at this Mars at 11. You know what Mars at 11 is? My Venus is here, so I know. This is the garden party, okay, in Sabian symbols. This is like a lawn with a barbecue and like a family and like your friends. Are you really doing that? Or is it kind of like, maybe you're identifying with that part of something that's great, or maybe you're lacking that part. There's a lot to look at that position of like, is it really the garden party that you really want? Like, does it really feel like that? Yes, this is family. This is all, you know, we are family. It's all Cancer stuff going on. And now Venus is opposed Pluto. And I think it's no coincidence that Venus opposes Pluto when the moon comes into Pisces, because now this is going to be where you are either the fool or not. Like, you know, like, are you fooling yourself? Mercury's now going to cazimi the sun. So this weekend, it's the end of the sun in Cancer with Mercury retrograde, with Venus opposed Pluto. That's intense. It's Mars and Juno even, Juno. And I think there's something about, you know, Juno and Venus, right? Deals with relationships and partnerships in a big way, both making some very intense aspects. Juno's starting to trine over to Jupiter, and Venus is now opposing Pluto. Like, this is like a major shift of like choosing the right situations or closing out cycles or really throwing it all out there and seeing what the universe will do and not getting so, and it will be heavily emotional if you didn't do the work. Like this is like and I think it's funny because astrology and God, we'll just say God first, and then of course the astrology kind of plays out God's plans, but it's like God's plan always does give you the last shot, but it's always like really gnarly, right? Like you really waited until the end, like okay, and you always see the way that the planets go, and like they're all at the end of Cancer. It's like okay, Venus is opposing Pluto. Like here's one little like opportunity, like Venus, Juno, trine Jupiter, and here's the moon in Pisces to be like, are you really doing your conscious work, or are you really in a foggy, weird place? And so, you know, this is intense, and this North Node is getting closer and closer and closer to Sirius. And this Venus is in opposition to Pluto, and it's like, please just, can I just tell you, Pluto, like, I don't want to commit to that tailoring or that structure. I want to feel what makes me feel good. And Pluto is demanding, like, well, you have to. And it's like, do I? Like, do I have to commit to that to feel good? Because remember, Pluto plays two sides, commitment and also like destroyer. So it's kind of like asking Venus, do you want to commit to this or do you want to destroy it? What is the thing here? And Mercury retrograde, cazimi, the sun, I mean, come on. Like, this is about thinking with your true feelings at the highest degrees of these Cancerian places. These are upper echelons of these cups that we have in our life that we've filled. And I'm using tarot references because I think it's hilarious. Like, this is like where we stack our cups so high, but like, we're so afraid of watching them fall. And Saturn and Pluto are the Tower card. We just literally had a lunar eclipse on the Tower card and the Death card. And if you had the South Node in there, that would be like, kind of like, I don't know, if you just like threw in the Magician or something, or you just threw in like some sort of like, you know, really intense major arcana, like the High Priestess. Like, are you ready to like let God just wash this away? Or are you going to throw that Emperor on, you know, on top of it? Like, no, I am not going to lose control, and I am not going to put an end to this. It's like, this is it at this point. Because after this, if you take a look at Sunday, Venus now is at 22. Okay, just oppose Pluto, done. It asks the question, and there's your answer, or whatever. And then here's the moon on Neptune that passed. Okay, you either fell into the trap or not. Like, you know, like there's no, like, there it is, like, do. And then the moon's going to trine and kind of go, well, okay, I guess I'm going to activate this. And pretty much the astrology kind of lightens up here for a moment as the cazimi point happens really fast. Like the little puppy runs next, like, okay, like, okay. Now the sun passes Mercury. Now the sun's going like, well, I'm almost home. I'm like a day away. Trust me. I'm July 23rd. I'm a 0 Leo. I'm like, give me to my birthday. Every Leo, like, we just cannot wait for our birthday because we love the summer and we love to be flashy in the sun and we like to get tan and we like to have fun and we want to feel love and we want to be positive. We're done with all the Cancerian and all the emotions. Like, we're just like, come on, can everybody just get back to the kingdom and have a good time? Like, is everybody done crying in the corner? You guys don't work out, just like end it already. You two go get a room. I've got a room upstairs in the castle. Don't use my bed in my room, but I've got, trust me, it's like 24 doors down. Get one of my pages. Where do you think we get the term pager? So the pager is on. Beep, 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 beep. But is it this great, beautiful life? Or is it, no, I'm going to hold on to shit and work and blah, blah, blah. And we all have to do this release, this eclipse cycle. It's just a releasing moment and a truth moment. Because if we look at Monday now, oh, thank God. I love July 22nd, probably more than my birthday, just because I know it's the day before my birthday. And on this, it's going to be kind of funky. The moon's going to be in Aries now on Chiron. So this is a last moment measure. Before the sun comes into its dignified position of Leo, here's Mercury now, past the sun. Now here's 23 degrees of Venus. Remember that Pluto went retrograde at 23. So there is a little bit of this undercover nonlinear timeline of where Pluto retrograded of truth to kind of face. And whatever that was going weird for you in that, April time. And the sun at the last degree of Cancer is really extreme because it puts the emotions very extreme, and the moon in Aries on Chiron is like, oh gosh, can I have the courage to really do this? Well, yeah, you can. Mars and Juno are trining over to Jupiter. Yeah, I believe. I'm gonna go look at the world. But it can be really easy to fall into the traps this week of like, no. And then after this, I'm sorry to tell y'all folks, like, you might get smacked in the head real hard when Uranus squares over to the sun. I just went through that transit for 2 years. That one sucked. Kept trying to fix something that was broke the whole time. It was not fun. Didn't end well for me, actually. It ended up totally the way I didn't think it would in my life. And that's what Uranus does. And so even though the sun's going to be in Leo, like Taurus and Leo, and maybe that's why I'm here on the planet now. Maybe I'll die like in 7 years when Uranus is out of Taurus. I don't know. But I'm here on the planet to teach people Leo, Taurus. That's what I am, and Scorpio. And that's my chart, and that's what I am. And this is what I'm preparing you all for coming up. I don't have all this Cancer, Capricorn access stuff. I don't have this Aries stuff. But I can tell you as a Leo, Taurus that all of this, and with the sun dignified and my moon exalted in Taurus, like life can be the best ever. And there is no other reason why the sun is dignified in Leo and the moon is exalted in Taurus. Happiest because the best life is possible. Heaven can be on earth or hell can be on earth. Why do you think the moon is at fall in Scorpio? And why do you think the sun is at detriment in Aquarius? Because we can feel kind of like overcommitted or like we have to do things for other people or other situations or commit to this or whatever. But then it feels like hell when we're not filling up our own happiness. It's like wearing somebody else's clothes that they just wore. Like, here, you need clothes? Let me take off my shirt. Why don't you wear it? It's like, ugh, okay, ow, ugh, what's that? Is it wet? Like, oh, I was sweating. Oh, great. No. That's where Leo Taurus goes, no. And I'm here to tell you this because this is what's coming up. Like, you're going to be tested if it's the best or not. And this is where you are getting these Cancer fears of like, you got to get through the fears first before you can either experience the greatness or you don't face the fear, you don't face the release, you don't face the truth, and then you come into Leo Taurus and then you just realize that it's like fool's gold. Ironically enough, Neptune and Pisces through the 1850s was claim jumpers. Why do you think, I'm going to just finish with this. Why do you think everybody went west, right? It was all about this idea of gold. In 1848, when Neptune was found, in 1849, of course, they signified that as the gold rush because that was the idea that there was people finding gold. Could that have all been a total facade? Like, literally. Like, how else are you going to get people to California? Back then, there was no Trans-Pacific Railroad. Back then, there was no nothing, and there was an easy business to start to get people to come on a wagon trail, do the Oregon Trail, and then fill up California. We had just gotten it established. It was a new thing. Do you think that was all facade? Because what happened? Everybody got to California, and you know what they ran into? Fool's gold, and they ran into claim jumpers. The light worker community has this idea right now of like disconnecting from the world and like get out of a city and stop eating that or stop doing this or stop it. It's like the vibe is not about escape. You know, the vibe is about being honest and true and being in the high vibe wherever you're at, wherever you got right now. Like you're safe wherever you're at. like, is of your sovereign self, like in your soul, if you're in alignment with your soul. And so all these people went west and they found that truth out, and it honestly filled up the understandings of San Francisco, and Levi's came out of it. Like, I don't know, you guys all know me and my history, but y'all love that. So I'm just trying to tell you all that this moment here is like, don't fall for the fool's gold in your life. Don't go to, I'm using the analogy of back then with Neptune and Pisces, is like, don't use this Neptunian thing of like, oh, well, I mean, it looks like it could, there's other people who got gold, or other people, you know, they went through this, or it looks like it is. Like, you got to go deep and be like, really? I'm going to get on a wagon trail and I'm going to go all the way there and I'm going to plop some land and then I'm going to like just start digging and I'm going to find gold there? Like, it's everywhere? I only say this because my family did go on the trail, but they didn't go on the Oregon Trail for gold. They went there to go bring real stuff like diamonds and jewelry and general store stuff. And my family also wanted religious freedom. So it was getting kind of gnarly there on the East Coast with, you know, stuff. With every time Neptune's in Pisces, things get gnarly about religion. And so they went west. Now, here's a point in your life where it's like, what reason are you going towards your soul's truth? Is it for this fake energy, or is it for like this real thing and thinking smarter of what really there is? And the sun does come into Leo on the 22nd, on Monday. And that will be the test, if you're in the kingdom of happiness or not. And sure, Mars trines Jupiter, but there is something about Mars trine Jupiter retrograde where it's kind of like, it's about what you receive. Like, hey, you passed the test, here's the gift, you know? Jupiter retrograde is always the receiving end of gifts, or you were willing to open up. It's not the, well, are you ready now kind of thing? Like, you already are in the kingdom and now you're asking, because Mars trines Jupiter on the 23rd and 24th. So this is the week to do it now. This is the cleanup, because then the moon, of course, in Aries, you think it's going to go square the sun in Cancer. No, it's not. It's going to square the sun in Taurus. Its exalted position, and with the sun dignified next week with Uranus. So you can go living the best life ever by making your hardest emotional, intense, overdramatic situations from you just not being real or not being willing to put down the road that is no longer defined, and being honest fully and putting out all honesty. I'm going to be very real. Like, gosh, being honest is the hardest thing on the planet. Trust me on that one. When you have to tell anybody in life your feelings, whether it is romantic or not, right? Whether it's through business or friendship or whatever, telling somebody like, this is how I feel. Like, I'm not happy the way you do this, or this is just, I just don't feel comfortable. Right? I'm sorry. I don't like when that happens or whatever. But this is how we take care of ourselves, because if we're being hit in the face every day, like, there was probably a kid back in the day when they used to beat kids in schools that said, ow, I don't like this, and kept saying it till finally maybe that person finally stopped. And then finally they were like, yeah, this ain't gonna work, you know what I mean? Like, we shouldn't be beating kids in schools. So it's not easy, but it is what's necessary, because what comes forward from this is paradise. I know. I am Leo Taurus. And I will tell you that you're right. I don't know how I go through the craziest stuff I've gone through in my life, and everybody looks at me and goes, how the fuck are you smiling, motherfucker? And I go, cause fucking life's fucking great. I don't know how I fucking figure it out, but I also don't hold my negative feelings in. I let them out. I'm like a little tyrant running around when I'm frustrated, or when somebody does something, or so I let it out. Because by letting it all out, it's tar out. But a lot of people can't handle that because they see the tar or whatever. Oh God, I had to protect myself from tar. You should hold on to your shit. It's like, no, that'd be like me being like, hold on to your poop as long as you can. You will get sick. And we're dealing with a world, there's no irony that the sun sign of Cancer rules how weird we deal with cancer this life. My mom's had cancer, survived it. Breast cancer, survived gnarly stuff with her insides. Like, it's insane. And she's made it through. And it's all emotional stuff. Cancer. It's not easy. And if you don't let it out and you hold it in, that's what creates these things that we don't understand, that nobody knows how to fix. And I know it's affected us all in our lives. Cancer's affected us all. And it's emotional. Why would they even name it Cancer when we have a sun sign named Cancer? It's emotional. And if you are not emotionally clear and happy and cleared out and trying to say like, no, I'm going to just do emotional hard shit and hard work, what do you think's going to happen? And if you don't know how to let it out, because one thing is shit is going to hit the fan all the time right now in life with Saturn and Pluto. It is not going to be easy to get up this trail. But if you're going to sit there and be like, I just stubbed my toe. Oh, I'm fine. I'm okay. Instead of being like, ah! And guess what? Then you can like start laughing 5 minutes later when you're like, I can't believe I just did that over there, but ha 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 ha, you know? People don't understand that. If you don't let it out, it's just going to be more inside. I love you all. We're about to do After Dark. Please, you can always support highvibe.tv, and especially me just being the Leo King and doing this show for free here at High Vibe Studios by just supporting us, by checking out highvibe.tv. You can become a subscriber and get access to all my daily videos, all my weekly content, all my weekly sun sign horoscopes, my weekly intuitive, my weekly tarot, or of course, I have a new show coming out where I'm going to be doing like once a week talking with people, but I don't want to bring it up, but I'm sure you all looked at my Instagram or my Facebook and saw what I'm going through. We just won't even talk about it. So now everybody knows I let out my truth today. That's what I've been going through for the last 7 months. And I'm through with that now. But I'm getting on my trail by dealing with the emotional stuff that was difficult. And I just want to let you all know that the best way to support High Vibe, and especially me personally for this show, is that to give this show free and to do it here and to have I mean, there's a bunch of people behind me right now waiting on me and going like, this motherfucker's taking too long. I want to get home. And that's the truth. That's real. I feel it. I'm a psychic. So to give this information out to you, there's a lot of people involved. There's a lot of people that sacrifice their time, their life, everything. And the best way to help us is like, we're not asking for like you to just drop every dollar in the world. That's why I'm approaching this show like public television did. Like, if you can donate $1 through buying a horoscope video on there, I'd appreciate it. If you want to subscribe and get access to everything and all these cool content, I'd love it. And you'd truly be doing a great service to us and a great service to the world with what we're really pushing here in High Vibe. So After Dark's next. I love you all very much. And I'm sending you my best on this lunar eclipse. Don't put your crystals out there, people. Please do not right now, especially even tonight. No, no, no. Please, please. And if you do happen to do that, go cleanse them and go like erase that energy, because that filtration system that just came in with the moon's reflection is not the stuff you want. Saturn, Pluto. Unless you want to like do truth bombs all day. Like, think of them as little grenades now. You just turned your crystals into grenades. Maybe that might be a great thing. Like holding it in your pocket, boom, of all my emotional stuff, boom. Maybe it might be good for some people out there. But for most people out there, I don't think you want to be carrying that energy around with you all day. I love you all very much. Thank you all for all the support. And follow High Vibe as well. We're try to do so much. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. We also got a YouTube, but yeah, follow all the stuff. You can go to highvibe.tv and see the links there. And of course, if you want to follow all me in my personal life and my crazy story and all the stuff I talk about astrology, my lives, that's on Instagram, the Leo Kingdom. Thank you so much, and I'll see you all in the next Deep Astrology.